guys, this is Ryu. So today we're basically just going to be talking about the top 10 greatest feats in Dragon Ball of all time. Now, this isn't just going to be Dragon Ball or Dragon Ball Z or Dragon Ball Super. This is every part of the Dragon Ball media franchise. The rules are basically simple. The rules are it has to be an actual feat. You can't just have a simple statement. You have to have a feat backing it up. And also, if feats are extremely similar, I'm not just going to copy the same feat for two characters that did the same feat. So yeah, let's get right into it. Number 10. So this is the 10th best feat in Dragon Ball history. Buhan nearly destroys the entire universe. Now, what makes this extra impressive is he was actually warping the space-time as stated in the anime of the entire universe, and he was going to destroy the dimensional walls of the universe to cause it to be collapsed. So this is basically a feat where not only is he going to destroy the universe, but he's destroying it in terms of space-time as well, and not just matter. So it's an extremely impressive feat. Moving on to the 9th best feat in all Dragon Ball history. Topo warps the entire world of Void. Now, this feat, it might not seem like much at first, but it actually is a very big feat. The first thing you have to understand is the world of Void is stated to be an infinite place. So in other words, there's no end to it. So it's going to be even larger than your standard universe model. And we see what Topo actually does is when he uses his energy of destruction as a god of destruction, the energy spreads through the entire world of Void, and it's stated that it changes the entire sky as you see on screen, warps the entire world of Void to look completely different, and basically this is showing that his attack has an infinite amount of range, it's fast enough to cross infinite distance in an instant, and also it's showing that it can warp a dimension of space and time, which is, again, infinite in size. So a very impressive feat, even beyond destroying a universe for sure. Now, the next feat, this is one you probably all know of. It's number 8 on our list. It is Goku and Beerus almost destroy the entire Universe 7 Macrocosm. Now, for those of you who don't know what the Macrocosm is, in Dragon Ball, the Macrocosm refers to the entire set of structures that make up Universe 7. Now, basically, this would include the living world, other world, and the Kaioshin realm. Within these, there's also other places like the hyperbolic time chamber, and there's heaven and hell and other world, and that kind of stuff too. But basically, each of these sections are their own separate space-time continuums, and some of them are as large or larger than the universe, like heaven, which is stated directly in the anime and the Daisenshu, and as it's depicted in the maps, to be larger than the universe itself. So this is a very impressive feat, because Goku and Beerus are directly shown to almost have destroyed all of these space-time continuums at the same time, just with a few punches. And this was not even on purpose. This was just an after effect of their attacks. So that's a very impressive feat coming in at number 8. Now, number 7 is going to have to be Joran when he transcends time itself in the Tournament of Power. This is an extremely impressive feat for a few reasons. Number 1 is that it shows that he's capable of moving even when time is stopped or skipped. We see this when Hit uses his time skip and time stop abilities, as well as his upgraded time cage ability, and Joran is still fully capable of moving in this, shattering the ability, and then he's directly stated to actually transcend time itself and also to be completely unaffected by time. So we know that this basically is stating that any kind of speed, any kind of time manipulation techniques, they're not going to work on Joran, and logically, since Joran would be above time itself, giving him immeasurable or fourth dimensional powers, and speed as well, this would apply to anyone who's, his level or higher. So a very impressive feat for sure. Now we come in at number 6, and this is a very big feat that a lot of people who have watched Dragon Ball Super will know of. It would be Zamasu becoming one with Trunks' entire future timeline. Now, this is very impressive because not only is Zamasu fusing with one space-time continuum, he's fusing with all the macrocosms within Trunks' future because they're all part of Trunks' future. So, as we stated earlier, just the Universe 7 macrocosm is multiple space-time continuums with multiple things the size of a universe. So when you consider that he's actually fusing with 12 different macrocosms, that's a very impressive feat. It would actually make him a low multiversal being just for doing that alone. So he's basically becoming a small multiverse when he does this. And it doesn't even end there. We see that Zamasu was already starting to bleed over into the present timeline, and he was already starting to reach Beerus and Whis' place. It's stated by them that his energy is already being felt there. So yeah, it's really impressive to see Zamasu doing that, and he showed no signs of slowing down in terms of his growth rate. So that's why that would get number 6. Now, the number 5 spot, I think you all probably saw this coming with Zamasu being mentioned, is Xeno nukes Trunks' entire future timeline and erases the entire thing, along with Zamasu, even though Zamasu was not only taken over that timeline, but had started to spread to other timelines. Now, this is very impressive yet again, even more so, because we see that Xeno is fully capable of erasing not just this small multiverse, but an abstract being like Zamasu who became one with it, as well as even reaching into other timelines, which are their own small multiverses, to erase Zamasu from them too, like the present timeline. So a very, very impressive feat there from Xeno for sure. Now, these other ones are ones you may not have heard of because, let's face it, I just hit Xeno's best feat there on number 5, so you can bet that these other ones are going to be even more interesting. Number 4 is going to have to be Shin Budokai Janemba warps multiple timelines and possibly an infinite amount. Now, basically what happens here, in the video game Dragon Ball Z Shin Budokai for the PlayStation Portable, Janemba becomes an abstract-like being. Basically, his evil energy starts to warp all the different timelines within this setting here. And what happens is Janemba is directly seen warping the present timeline, as well as Trunks' future timeline, and he even brings in a past timeline through Gohan's dreams, showing manipulation of dreams and the past as well. So that's an extra impressive little bit there. And it's implied that there are an endless amount of timelines in there, well, when it's stated by Cell that he would have endless timelines to destroy when he's talking about using time travel to destroy other timelines. So that's very, very impressive to see there. Janemba at least was warping multiple timelines, which, as we discussed earlier, are actually small multiverses in Dragon Ball. So that's pretty impressive there for Janemba for sure. And obviously, like I was saying, he was still growing with the evil energy, right? The evil energy was spreading, so heaven only knows how much stronger he was going to get. So that's why he's at number 4. Now, number 3, this is a very, very good feat that's sometimes overlooked from Dragon Ball Xenoverse. This is the Future Warrior tanks the destruction of the Time Vault and the entire multiverse. Now, what occurred here was Dimitra, in his first attempt to destroy the multiverse, destroys the Time Nest successfully, and the Future Warrior actually survives and is shown in the remaining void, and then he's given the scroll from Toki Toki to reverse this process and go back and stop Dimitra from doing this. But the fact remains, the Future Warrior was fully capable of surviving the destruction of the entire multiverse and surviving in an empty void afterwards. So this is very impressive for a few reasons. Number 1, just the simple fact that he can survive infinite timelines being destroyed on top of him. And number 2, he's fully capable of acting and moving around in an actual void without time or space. Now, this is very impressive because that would imply right there, again, higher dimensional status as well, and speed that's beyond regular linear speed because, again, he's moving without any time being present. So a very impressive feat, and that's why Future Warrior from Xenoverse 1 doing that gets the number 3 spot. Now we move on to the number 2 spot, the second best feat in the entire Dragon Ball franchise. This one is going to have to go to Zamasu from Dragon Ball Xenoverse. The feat that he pulls off here is unparalleled. It's never been done in any other Dragon Ball game by any other character, really. I mean, the only one who even comes close is Dimitra, but he still doesn't have quite as good a feat as this. What happens here is normally Zamasu is erased by Xeno when he becomes Infinite Zamasu. We know this is how it works in the anime, but in Xenoverse, he's still erased by Xeno, body and soul, as well as his entire timeline, which is a small multiverse, like I stated. And when this happens, Zamasu doesn't die still. He comes back as your mentor, and it's confirmed it's the same Zamasu because he states that he's going to try and enact his Zero Mortal plan yet again, as in he failed. So therefore, this is a Zamasu that had failed and been erased by Xeno in the past. Thus, we know it's the one who was able to regenerate and come back to try again. So this is saying a lot because Zamasu is able to regenerate from being fully erased body and soul, along with his entire history and a small multiverse, which is Future Trunks' future. And he's also erased by Xeno, who's a character that's vastly more powerful than him and has the power to erase all of creation, according to Whis. So if he can regenerate from that, his staying power is pretty insane. Oh, and by the way, just a heads up, the Future Warrior is capable of utilizing Zamasu's immortality as a super soul. So basically that means the Future Warrior from Xenoverse 2 has this same staying power, which is pretty amazing. Now we get to the number 1 spot. This one is the best feat, in my opinion, in the entire Dragon Ball franchise. And this one is going to go to Dragon Ball Heroes Dimitra. Basically what happens here is Dimitra takes control of the entire Dragon Ball multiverse in Dragon Ball Heroes. Now, this includes infinite alternate timelines, as well as even higher dimensional places, such as the Crack of Time and the Time Nest. This is all part of the Dragon Ball Heroes multiverse. Dimitra spreads evil energy across all of this, takes it all over, and warps the space and time of all of this place. Then he actually manages to not only do this, but he transcends the multiverse as stated when it's stated he transcended the world and transcended space to reach what's called the real world, where the main character avatar comes from, which is supposed to represent our own world. It's also even directly stated to be in another dimension, which requires you to transcend into it. So Dimitra literally is transcending even higher dimensional structures, such as the Crack of Time, to reach an even higher dimension in the real world that treats all of Dragon Ball Heroes like fiction. And when he does this, he reaches this area with his energy and is even going to take it over and destroy the real world. And Dimitra just keeps getting stronger and stronger as this goes forward. So for this reason, since Dimitra is capable of erasing the entire Dragon Ball Heroes multiverse and even higher dimensional constructs such as the real world, that is going to be the best feat in all of Dragon Ball. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I certainly like putting the list together. I think these are all really interesting feats, and hopefully you guys learned something, and till next time. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I always appreciate it. And also hit that bell button to make sure that you get notified whenever I put out new content so you can keep up with what's going on.